Chris.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. And we're gonna talk a little bit about your Mutant Chronicles Kickstarter. And I was quite surprised to see it up. How come the system that's so 90s is still so popular, and not only the RPG but also the miniatures?
What's amazing though is when we started working on it, we found there were big groups still playing the old role-playing game in Poland and Italy and Spain, even France, and then the fans just started coming out of the woodwork as soon as we said that there's going to be a third edition of the role-playing game. And I think it was because it was such a big game back in the 90s. It wasn't just a role-playing game. Obviously, there was the Warzone miniatures that rebooted last year. There were 3 board games and a 4th recently from Fantasy Flight. There was obviously a film. There was 2 video games, a SNES and a Sega Mega Drive version, and Doom Trooper, the card game, which was in 16 languages. So you can imagine how far that reached. And of course, 3 novels that got into all the bookshops and a series of comic books. So it really was a massive, massive, massive gaming brand. So it's really lasted quite a long time. And when I was offered it, I realized that the kind of whole look and style was still kind of cool, because it now was, well, back then it was techno fantasy, but now you'd kind of call it diesel punk, because it's 1950s style. It looks like that, it looks like kind of 50s post-war. Everything's bigger than it needs to be. The cars are massive, the guns are massive, the shoulder pads are huge.
Okay, but you're going to change the system a little bit. You're going to rewrite it completely, as I understood.
Yeah, it's a brand new system, but it's very much inspired by all the good bits of the old system. So there's the 6 stats, and we've added 2 more to have a bit more variety. It's a D20 roll under system. It still obviously has all the dark gifts and the arts, the various kind of, good and bad sort of powers. We're adding in mutations into it because the game is called Mutant Chronicles, and mutation is a very big part of the storyline. Now, what we haven't done is change the storyline, but we've added to the storyline to flesh it out. There was a lot of big holes that we've answered, the questions that were left unanswered, and sort of filled in the gaps. And so the rule system has been designed to really let you play a cinematic game. The old game was very combat heavy. It was very much about combat skills and lots of weapons. And I guess you could have said it was a futuristic dungeon crawl. So we've tried to bring it up to date. Now you'll be able to have spaceships. You'll be able to cruise around the solar system. You're going to be able to build your own corporation and try and fight for business. You're going to have lots of conspiracies and investigative missions, because we have started the storyline a lot earlier.
Yes, you have different settings now in the same universe.
Yeah.
How can
that? Well, if you look at the whole storyline, basically what happens in the Mutant Chronicles world is there's 5 big corporations that have emerged that control everyone. Everyone's owned by one of the corporations. And at the beginning of the story in the 25th century, you have this mission to Pluto that lands and discovers an ancient artifact, and that unleashes this evil force called the Dark Symmetry. So the original role-playing game then wound the clock forward 700 odd years to the big storyline when there's a big war with the Dark Legion. But back in that first part of the story, you had 30 years of technology turning on mankind, becoming corrupted, and then you had the first invasion of the Dark Legion. But that was backstory in the original role-playing game, and they went forward to the second time the Dark Legion come back. So we thought, well, actually, that first war is a really cool time to play, because not only have you got people still using their old high-tech equipment, but they don't know when it's going to turn on them. They don't know when it's going to stop working. They don't know when it's going to grow tentacles and try and strangle them. So it's very much kind of Cthulhu-style investigations. It's almost a kind of, not quite post-apocalyptic, but imagine technology failing around you, like orbital stations stop pumping out oxygen and people die. Machines turn on people. AIs start to become erratic and order crashes and all kinds of stuff. So it's a really exciting time to play leading up to the first invasion. And humankind isn't ready. The first armies that go in and attack the Dark Legion are completely wiped out and return as undead legionnaires. So you've got quite this terrible time when the population don't know what's going on. The corporations are fighting just to hold the lines. And you get this big climatic battle at the end of that first story.
So that's kind of a fan favorite time.
Well, no,
that you've now made playable.
It wasn't a fan favorite. Everyone always played in the original story. We just thought, actually, you know what? We're missing a huge opportunity for some really cool adventures. And we've got a campaign that takes you as lunar police detectives and cops and freelancers right the morning after the Pluto landing, all the way through to the end of the first Dark Legion war, and in a climatic battle that has a very big surprise ending.
Okay.
And then the next campaign will take you from the moment the Dark Legion returns 700 years later, and you'll be able to use the same characters, and I'm not going to tell you how.
Okay. Okay, I wanted to ask, but fine.
Yeah, it's very cool. And so, of course, the core book will include all the storyline for that first period, but also the period everyone is very used to. And so you can play it any time you want, but we're just giving you the opportunity to expand that story.
Okay, and you're also working together with the other Mutant Chronicles Kickstarter to produce special miniatures. What are we going to get?
Right. So the guys at Prodos Games who did the Warzone Kickstarter, they are making a series of role-playing adventurers for each of the factions. So you can expect to see 3 unique figures for each faction, like the Brotherhood, Capital, etc. And they will be multi-part figures that are quite, very detailed. And then we're going to have a series of extra sets of creatures, of heretics. So we've got 5 heretics that we've unveiled so far. We've got new creatures we've created for that first timeline called the Cable Marionette, which is, imagine what happens when all the cabling on a spaceship or in a big building just rips itself out of the walls and binds itself together in a terrifying mockery of a human being and then strides down the corridor towards you. Where do you shoot it? You don't, there's no idea. So we've got this awesome character figure that is a big bundle of cabling.
Okay.
It looks really cool. And then there's a character called a Malignant, which is what happens when a human being is exposed to the raw fury of the dark symmetry. And if you remember the Scream films, when they've got the kind of sunken face in the mask. And so this basically, imagine the human face melts under intense heat and drips downwards and then turns into this sort of old grey skin and long claws and teeth. So this thing just sits there waiting for anyone to come along and then pounces on them and tries to infect them with necrobionic spores and turning them into another Malignant. So they're pretty freaky, and we had great fun in the playtests.
You did a lot of playtests, already read that, like 400 groups, and there's a lot of people now responding. Actually, it's like, how many stretch goals have you already? Like 6, 7, 8?
We've gone through, we've unlocked 3 more books from the core book. We've unlocked some cheaper shipping, some, like a bonus player's guide for the core book. We added an extra 100 pages to the core book, so it's now 400 pages. We are currently at just over £58,000 and 519 backers, which is incredible. And we're just currently funding the first half of what's called the Dark Soul book. Mm. And the Dark Soul book is basically all about the Dark Legion and the Dark Soul, which is the big evil entity that kind of is behind the Dark Legion. And we're putting a lot more information on the Dark Apostles, who are like the sort of 5 big generals of the Dark Soul. They're sort of 5 different aspects of the Dark Soul. They all attack us in different ways. Like Algaroth is very physical and aggressive and sends his armies against us. Ilian uses the dark symmetry to corrupt our equipment, and so on.
Okay.
So the Dark Soul book is going to dig really deep into each of the apostles and the planet of Pluto and Nero, which is where they come from, as well as unveiling lots of secrets about the timeline.
How are you going to manage all that? Now, there's lots of books only for Mutant Chronicles, but that hasn't been your only Kickstarter. I'm wondering what's going to happen to Achtung Cthulhu.
Well, Achtung Cthulhu is still steaming along. We've got a different writing team who are working on Mutant Chronicles. Our philosophy is not necessarily to find the best writers, but to find good, passionate writers who love the topic. So we've been looking for people who love Mutant Chronicles, who have good writing credits, who can take on the different books. We have a very good team already working on Achtung Cthulhu. So we're about to finish the next 3 guidebooks, Eastern Front, Pacific and North Africa, for Achtung Cthulhu, and they'll be going out in the next sort of 6 weeks or so to backers. And we have another bigger team working on the Assault on the Mountains of Madness book and the Shadows of Atlantis campaigns. So all those books are coming along very well. And the good thing, what we learned from the Achtung Cthulhu project, is to get the writing going a lot quicker so that we can deliver to backers sooner. And so we've already got a big chunk of the core book written. There's huge amounts of content coming in from different writers. And we've got some really good writers focusing on each of the guidebooks. And we're actually, our plan is to fund quite a few books with the Kickstarter. Our aim is to fund all the original books and our reinterpretations of them. So, for example, the Algaroth and the Ilian guidebooks are now included in the Dark Soul book, which is a big 248-page book. But our writers are churning out material already, and we've got lots of artwork pouring in from different artists. So whereas with Achtung Cthulhu, we had one artist with a very specific look, we've now got 3 artists and looking at sort of 2 or 3 others who are good at different things. Some people are better at character portraits, others are cool speed paint concept artists, artwork of cities and planets, that kind of thing. Some great map artists are coming on board. So we've really been expanding the team to be able to cope with the workload.
Okay. So, first of all, congratulations to making the first goal, and I hope there's going to be a lot of stretch goals coming up too.
Yeah, we've got a lot ahead. So it's a lot of work. You know, it's not going to be easy, but the enjoyable thing about a Kickstarter is you're getting immediate feedback from people, and you work really hard. I mean, we're often up till me and my wife actually. She's been working on it. You know, we'll be up till like 2-3 in the morning every day. But you see the return on it. You see people getting excited. You see people responding and getting behind it. And, I think we're going to, our aim is to have as big a success as Achtung Cthulhu, if not more. So.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much.